Welcome to Building SaaS with Python and Django. My name is Matt Lehman, and on this stream we work on Django apps, putting them out live in production. I show you all the code that I write for this project on stream, so we do this together, and we're going to continue on a bunch of issues that are related to my journaling software that I've launched live to production a few weeks ago. There's plenty to do, so let's get into it with the issues that we have here. So I've kind of filtered down some issues that we can prioritize on and figure out what's going on and take them in turn. I don't know that we'll go exactly in the order here. I just assign myself to the total number, and we'll get to that. So we'll do one or two of these. We'll take a break to do some stuff related to dependabot, because from last time we set up dependabot pull requests for new packages. We're going to be playing catch up for a few weeks while we get through all of those, and that's how we'll go. So you're welcome to ask me anything about Python, Django, or web development. That's what I'm here for. And I think I want to start this evening's stream with this particular item. This is submitted to us by John, who signed up as the first customer and is also a regular here who provides good feedback. So let's take what John has as his feedback and try to figure out how we can make the site better. So it says here that John signed up and activated the account through the emailed link and entered payment details. Okay, so this is a step, the flow of this app, and as context, this is a journaling application that works through email. So once you've signed up and you're in the trial, you should start getting daily email prompts that you can fill in and respond to and create a journal out of that. So the entering of payment details is for someone who goes to the next step and actually activates the account. So John says here that he entered his payment details, and upon completion, it sent him to a success page, that's good. That's where we wanted it to go. But I think there was maybe some trouble after that step of going somewhere else or desiring to go to somewhere else, provided some other outcomes. So let's poke around. Let's see if we can improve the success page results, figure out what we want to do about that, and see how we can make this better. So I'm going to start by starting up our local development server. And one of the things that we'll do differently from what John reported is we're not going to go through the whole sign-up process locally. We could, but I don't know that that's necessary to kind of get to some of these critical elements. It might be for some of them. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe there was something about this where, because as I'm thinking through this, like you can get your email link, but you can't get to the details payment things unless you're logged in. So I'm really perplexed on this thing right here, manually entering the URL, send him to the login page. So that's interesting. Maybe we can get some details from him later. So there's no navigation menu, that's true. And it sent him to the activate account page, which is the dashboard. So I think that this page is the right page because there's nothing on our main index page yet except for an activation button. So that I think is expected behavior. So let's take a look at what we've got. We're going to apparently be launching on port 5006. I don't know why my computer keeps moving me around. I literally restarted, so there should be no other ports spoken for. So the fact that this is moved again is weird to me. We're already logged in on this is my local machine, and I'm logged in with my test account. So that's already handled. And apparently it was able to recognize localhost even though the port number has moved. The thing we want to check is the success page, which I think we just put at success. So we're here, and it says we had some static message that said, "Thank you, your account is now active. Thank you for signing up." I think one of the things that maybe was missed in this process, I don't know. John's not here to speak for himself. So is that at the time, well, this link right here is not obvious that you could go back to hit this, and this is like something that you wouldn't see if the account's in the trialing in the active state. So like the flow is user clicks, files all of their payment details, Stripe processes that, sends back success. in the background, what's happening is there's a webhook that will fire, and the account from its trialing state into an active state. Now maybe John was faster than like the flow might have been. I can see a race condition that could happen, and that race condition is that you can go to the success page, and perhaps John was able to click this before the webhook was able to be received by the app and process it and set his account to the active status. So it's conceivable that he got back to this point where he was able to view this page and it said, hey, you're still trialing. In which case that's a weird behavior. I don't really know how to resolve that exactly, so we might have to leave that aspect. But there are some other things we can do. The first thing I think we can do is provide some really obvious call to action to take a user back somewhere. So this says, thanks for signing up. This was like super minimal thing that we could do to make this an okay experience, to acknowledge at least that your account is now active. But I think that there should be a little something there to let the user having fighting chance of getting back to where they need to go, in case they don't notice that you can click the JourneyInbox icon or service name and take them back. So let's take ourselves to the success template and start by adding a new paragraph tag, and then we'll just put a link in this. I don't suppose we don't actually need paragraph tags, but we'll use that. And then we want to have some spacing here, so let's put a class of, start with 4 on there. And then here I want to put a new anchor tag. And we want it to go back to the home page, which I'm trying to think of what I want to call that. There's a couple of like terms I could use. I'm trying to think about the future state of what happens after you've logged in. What should your main experience be? I think the main experience is going to be something that will have your most current journal entry, if you have one, and then ways to navigate through your history forward and backwards in time. So I'm viewing it, even though I'll probably view it as a dashboard. I don't know if that's a great name, but it's one that people I think will at least understand. So I'm going to say, let's put in a URL tag here, and we want to go to, this should be the index page. So I think I've named that appropriately. And we end that. And then I want to say, go back to your dashboard and start to establish that that's the naming for this stuff. There's a bit of stylization here so that right now that's going to look like just regular text, which is not what we want. But let's see if we got that right. Yep, it's clickable. It's just not super great. Okay, so let's bring up another anchor tag. So I'm going to look for an href somewhere and see if we can steal the styles off of that, because I can't remember. So we've got the styles that we're going to be using on the site is like a lime green that will, on hover, increase its brightness by a certain percentage. So let's steal this by yanking that, and we'll go back to where we were, and here, put that in place. Whoops. Put that in place. Now we should have a little bit of styling. We hover over it. We go back to the dashboard. Here it is. For the time being, I'm going to leave. Well, look, shoot. I already called this home. So, all right, let's change it. Let's go back. Home. To home. I don't know. The point is to give some kind of breadcrumbs that they know this is like the call to action on this page. And in the future, we could make this nicer and really give them a nice note saying like, thank you so much for joining. Here's what you can do. Here's some of the things that are available to you that now your account is active. But honestly, there's not going to be a lot of differentiation on the site between a trialing account and an active account, except for the fact that you can continue to use the service, which is why you would activate. So there's not a lot of sell that we need to do from a marketing perspective on this page. And then I didn't like that too, so let's just say go back home. Okay. So I think if we do this, we might help to address some of John's primary concerns. So he got here, that's good. I think the thing we want to avoid is we don't want anybody to have to feel like they need to manually enter a page. And once you're at the point where you're manually entering a page to go back, well, it's no surprise that you ended up somewhere else or you have to redo something else. I'm not really sure here. And then again, as I said, this sent me to the activate account page. Does seem wrong in some sense, but that's because we don't have a dashboard yet. And so as we get farther along, we have an issue somewhere in here. Excuse me. Probably this one, the authenticated homepage, to design this experience and put cool stuff in here. So I think that will resolve itself once we actually get to that. So I think that's good. And then there's no navigation menu yet. I think that's okay, because what would it be? Like, we only have the home page right now on the site, plus some, the pages related to login and that sort of thing. There will need to be, like, there's a bunch of pages we're missing. Let's see, do we have some of them described? We need a footer at some point, because we need to be able to let people, like, there are things that are not really doable on the site right now, unless you happen to know the exact URL for logging out. That'd be something that we need. So I just want to scan through here, make sure I didn't record these previously. I don't think I did. I think those were too old. So all right, so let's record a couple of new pages that we need. So we need a footer. The footer needs, so the footer navigation should include a few elements. And one thing I want to include is copyright stuff, just to say, hey, this is copyrighted work, because that's the default in the US where I am, and it's deployed at the US, so technically there's a copyright there. And then we have to do a minimum, well, we don't have to. There are things that I would like to put there. So I would like to have, we want to have a link to our privacy policy at all times so that people could get that. We want to include, and I guess I should say link to, that page already exists and is available on the sign up process, but that's the only time you ever get access to it. We want to link to the terms of service, because, yep, what's the promise? What's the kind of the contract between JourneyInbox and the customer? And link to an about page. I don't think we created an about page of any kind, so let's check on that bit first. Yeah, so we need to create an about page, which will indicate what the service is all about. Those things feel like a satisfactory. Oh no, one more. We need to I've grown to dislike having like big prominent log out buttons. They seem like a gigantic waste of space. So to me, whoops, I closed out the app. No, I didn't. It's on a different port. Where do we go? So I don't want a log out button up here. I think something a little bit more discreet will be better. So I plan on putting a footer down here. And frankly, it's going to look pretty similar to School Desk. It'll be a lot of the same kind of elements there that are present, because I like that structure, and why reinvent that wheel? So I think those are things that we can include. So we want our logout link for authenticated users. We only want to show that if they're logged in. And those feel like the things. I don't know that we'll get to this particular issue tonight, but who knows? We'll see how far we get. So, all right. Based on this, though, I think this is probably enough to satisfy the main element here. So in the end, it didn't end up being a lot of change. It ended up being mostly just make it clear of what to do next after somebody has successfully logged in. So let's commit this and mark this one as done. A couple of lines, one link. We'll say add clear call to action on the success page. And that fixes number 78. Okay, cool. One down. And this will be the nature of it for a while, as there are going to be plenty of rough edges, and you know, frankly, if you want to sign up and try out JourneyInbox, I think there are should be some slots available. I did observe over this past week that trials were in fact expiring, like the job that's there. So there's a limited number of spots available in JourneyInbox, and we have some issue to make that clear of what's available, but it's not right now. But if you want to try out the service and give it a shot and start to provide feedback, you're welcome to. This project is available up on GitHub. You can go to you can find me, MB Lehman, and look for journal and report issues. And the whole point of this is to be able to interact and actually make an awesome product here. So I'd love your feedback if you are interested in trying it out. Okay, so let's move on to our next issue. We haven't actually shrunk the number of issues so far. We closed one and then created a new one. So that's okay. Let's figure out what's next. Or you know what, why don't we take little breaks between here and go handle some pull requests that are coming in from different automated services, and so we can get that going and start to clean up this process. So first thing to do is upgrade our pre-commit stuff. That one's always pretty easy. It's updated to a configuration file, so nothing contentious on there. And after that, we can look at our different dependencies here. So we'll start with GUnicorn. This is looks like a major version update, so I don't know what's changed here. Let's take a quick look at the changelog. 21.20, 21.11, GUnicorn 21, miscellaneous changes. That's the challenge with some of these change logs. They're not always clear about what's actually happened, so you have to sometimes dig in a little farther, especially because the service is farther behind, and we just added dependabot last week. The delta between what we had when we started this project, which looking back is almost like, I think it's getting close to a year old, which is surprising. Or maybe that's when I bought the domain name. I could be not as old as I think. Let's take a quick peek. Chunka. Figuring it out. How many commits are there? Okay. Oh, no wonder that was the wrong one. My bad. That was for the GUnicorn project itself. I want the insights for journal, which should go way faster. Okay. Yeah, we're approaching a year, basically. Like, this is probably May. Okay, maybe not quite a year, but there's some stuff in there. And we just added, Hody, welcome. We just added dependabot last week, so there's that basically a year's worth of updates that we were ignoring as we were getting the project off the ground. So let's take a look at what the release says. We need to look at everything that is after 20.1.0. So what I typically will do is go to where it is. Now, thankfully, it's right here. There's not a lot to go, and then I go up. So I can kind of get a sense of here's what happened. So this is actually a fairly small delta. Support Python 3.11. Well, that's good because we're actually using 3.12. So yay. Some fixes, SSL stuff. Okay, I don't see anything here that would imply anything dangerous. I don't know why this was a major version bump, but maybe they don't do semantic versioning or something. Who knows? Feels like a safe change to merge this. Let's do it. Okay. And maybe we'll do 2 or 3 of these and then come back. I suspect what will happen is this queue will fill right back up because we have this set to run as daily checks now. And since it's scheduled to run daily and scheduled for a maximum of 5, GitHub should be recognizing, hey, wait a minute, there's another dependency you have to upgrade. This is what we saw last time when we enabled it for the first time, where we did a round of 5 of them and then 5 more popped right in. So it's sort of like whack-a-mole for a little while. All right. So because we merged that last one, they're doing some rebasing, but we can still look at the changelog here and see what's up. So we're jumping from 3.3 to 3.5. So looking through here, preparing blah, doing some stuff with async, middleware, translations, MariaDB, that doesn't really apply. I'm not seeing anything that applies to this project. So that changelog looks good. And then, oh good, support for Django 5, which we're not on yet as far as I know, because that hasn't popped up yet from dependabot. And keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, I think it's good. Oh, and look, it's still, all right, it's figuring it out. We'll merge that, come back and merge that in a moment. Let's look at this. This is Python date util. I'd be shocked if there's anything in here that changed. They pinned some dependency that they needed to. Okay. I'm just going to merge it. Sometimes there are times where I just don't care about like waiting for the test to run again. So every time you merge one of these dependabot things, the existing dependabots, they desire to like rebase and apply and run the test against the new versions. And if you're wanting to be super, super safe, you could wait for each of those things. I play a little dangerously, I suppose, by going a bit faster than that. But the reality is, like, I'm going to test it again anyway, and I'm not doing continuous deployment all the way to production. If we were deploying this to production with every merge, then I might go a little slower and wait for everything to settle down before doing each merge, because I don't want to be caught by surprise when I make a bad deploy to production because of some bad dependency. In this case, we feel good about this, so let's go ahead and merge this and move on to the next one. And maybe GitHub will surprise me and they won't actually do updates. It might just be 5 per week, which should be fine. We've got Django hash ID field here. Support for Django 5. Cool. Drop support for less than 3.2.40.41. What version are we on? I think we're on 4.2. Yeah, 4.2. There's a conflict, so I'll let it wait for rebase. And let's check out Django anymail. This is a 10.1 to 10.3. And they do these kind of games where they put the changelogs in other places. Okay. 10, we need to look at 10.2 and 10.3. So anymail, it added some resend support. I don't know what that is. Correctly merge, send defaults. Okay, don't think that's going to affect us. All right, let's look at 10.3. Brevo, resend, and use center go. I don't know what those are. New ESPs, maybe? Not really sure. Mailgun doesn't apply. And again, another Brevo thing. So I think we're good. I think those are 4 other projects. So we can merge that in. And let's see if this one has resolved its conflicts. All right, looks like it did. I'm going to say go for it. Okay, so now coming back, we should be able to do a pull and we'll get all those updates. Quite a bit of work looking through all that stuff in order to get a very small diff, but hey, that's what you got to do. And then we can return our attention to our issue list. So there are, let's tackle this one next. This is something I observed the other day. There was a user, somebody. I think it was just I was looking at somebody, the fact that somebody was trialing, and I was thinking about like, well, are they going to activate their account? Could they? And then I realized that once your trial has expired, I actually created a problem for myself because the current page, the index page, won't let you. So if you look at this, you can see right here that you can only click this activate button if your status is trialing. And that's a problem. It's a problem because what happens if your trial expired? So like, let's say, here's the scenario. The trial promises 2 weeks worth of time to use the service. You can use that service for 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks worth of emails, and maybe you've built up enough of a journal there, and you're happy with the service, and you want to keep trying it or keep using it. Once it is expired, then you're out of luck. You can't have any path to actually click the activation button because this is guarded for only trialing. So that's not correct. So what we need to do is separate these or have another one for a different status. And I think there are 2 ways that I could handle this. No, there's not, because this is one activate button. So I want to make sure that this works for any status that I set in here. So what I want to do is put a condition that allows for user account status is equal to the user account status. This is the actual enumeration. And for the, oh goodness, what is it? The account model, what's the status name? Trial expired. Trial expired. So we want to put trial expired right here. And now if whether you're trialing or you're expired, you should still be able to get to here. But the problem is that this message no longer makes sense in this world because it was intended to be only for the trialing stuff. So we need to have an additional set of conditionals in here, which it doesn't feel great to gate the button. Or we could, I guess, do this 2 ways. So we could either do, let's not include this paragraph inside of here. So let's take this whole thing and we'll copy it a couple times, and we'll clean up this. So this will make sense in a second. For this one down here, we just want the button. So this is when you show the button. 2 conditions, but then we have a different message depending on whether you're trialing or whether your trial expired. So first thing we want to do is have something for trialing. So I want to delete everything to the percentage mark there. So this is for the trialing, and this doesn't need to stay, and we can delete the button. So now we have just the paragraph message, and then it will have the button. The other scenario is when the trial has expired. And Hawar, I see your comment there. Let me get to it in just a second here. Let me clean this up, and then we can jump to what your comment's about. So we're going to delete the trialing bit on this one. So this is the other scenario. Now we want to say, we'll change here. Your trial has expired is the only difference in language, I think. And then we want to keep to continue using JourneyInbox. Well, it's actually not the same. It's not beyond your trial because the trial's over. To continue using JourneyInbox, please activate your account. And then we can delete that button. And now we have we've got either scenario configured to show the button, and this is not correct because Logically, this is impossible, right? You can't be both trialing and trial expired for your status. So it's an or condition. So there was a mistake I was about to introduce. And I think we can check this over here. My local side should have, yeah, this hasn't changed. And we can check on the admin by going to here. We can look at this particular account. So we're logged in as Matt right now. We want to go to the accounts, and Matt's down here. We can see that the trial is set to trialing for here, or the account is set to trialing, excuse me. All right, Hawar, let me take a look at your comment here. What would be the best way to go about building a timeline future? I think you're going to need to explain to me a little bit more what you mean by a timeline future. Timeline of what? So if you can say more, maybe I can address your question better, but right now I don't think I don't think there's enough there for me to really comment on it. Okay, so we've got messages for a couple different states. We could actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's try the trial expired. So save and continue editing. Let's refresh. Your trial is expired. To continue using JourneyInbox, please activate your account. That looks right. And then if we do active, save and continue, that whole thing should go away completely and just be this. Which is confusing, admittedly, because there's not really much of a home page yet. But I think I state that. And yeah. So this isn't quite true language either, because this is an active state. So this message could be dynamic, but I don't want to waste my time on that. So people who are active will just get a little bit of extra information for the time being. Let's keep it in trialing, because I think that's representative of how most users will be when they sign up, and I want that experience to remain. So let's look. Okay. So I think this one's good. We've got a couple lines. We've separated the messaging from the activation button. The activation button needs to stay right where it is, especially because it's using an ID. So that has to be one unique element. We can't copy that around and have that for multiple places. And then we've got a message for each of the two states that matter here. So that feels right. Let's commit that. And we've got to wait for pre-commit to install the new version of Rough. Just takes a second. While we're waiting, let's see if we have new pull requests that have popped up. No. All right. No more dependabot today. I guess we have paid our penance. Okay. So add the ability for expired trials to activate. And that fixes number 99. I got 99 problems, but this ain't one of them anymore. Okay. All right, let me read Hawar's rest of the comment there. For example, if you have a product order, you put it into the system, which the start is the date of creating and the end is calculated based on a predefined list of status codes. So are you, I mean, I get that there's you're talking about something that has a sequence of steps, and you want to list each one. So I think if I was in your shoes, what I would do, if it was important to keep a deep chronology about the statuses of something, there's a couple of ways you could go about it. One would be to use there are some packages, and I think we have one of them that is something like, let's see if we have it. Yeah. One of these ways is with Django Simple History. Django Simple History allows you to version your actual model instances. Now you could reach into the historical record. And so if you did that, you could keep track of your status field and do historical queries looking for when it's changed from, purchase to package to shipped. I don't know, whatever your status would be for your products, and monitor that. I don't know. I state that just for completeness. I don't feel great about depending upon that for history purposes, but maybe some people would. Another way I could think to do this is kind of keep essentially a log of records that go along. Like if you have something that's so important that your entire website is about products and the sales of products, then maybe you have a set of either like an order fulfillment sort of thing that has all of the associated statuses and keeps like a set of dates that go along with them, and like that's a known fixed thing. So every time somebody orders a product, they have essentially a fulfillment process, and you keep track of all of those dates if they've been shipped. At that point, displaying that timeline would really be mostly about fetching that individual record related to that fulfillment and then checking the dates there and displaying them. Or you could view it more generically as a set of discrete actions. Like maybe you want to keep track of, well, this, I don't know if this works for products, but there are some things where a process might go backwards and forwards. Like if it's let's imagine it's not about products anymore. It's more about like some kind of process document that you have to go through, and it's going through like an IT ticket where maybe you've submitted something and it needs to go through a review, and maybe the person that's doing the review will kick it back to you, and then you want to do that. And so you might have like a chronology there, so you want to keep track of every separate action over time. That's if you would have like multiple instances of a particular status. So those are like 3 different ways that I think I'd approach it. So again, use something like Django Simple History and mine the history for those dates of status changes, or have a dedicated object of some kind that keeps track of the dates for something that's a fixed process. Those are welcome. Or the third way of being just like have a generic way that keeps each individual change as its own separate entity, and that way you could have an arbitrary, this status changed to that status, and you could have the whole like list of them. That's how I think I would approach it. Hopefully that helps. Okay, let's do, which one do I want to do? I think I want to do graceful trial handling, partly because I feel bad. So feel bad for John. John graciously signed up for the service, and because of the way we designed it right now, because he signed up on like day 1 or day 2, which is awesome. Super grateful for him doing that. But he activated his account, and it immediately charged him because that was what everything's set to do, rather than having a period where we try and honor the remainder of the trial and then charge. That's the difference in view here. So I did do this for Homeschool, the Homeschool app, School Desk. So we will do something similar because that logic's already there, and it's going to be basically the same sort of thing. So there's no sense in trying to figure that out again. Essentially what we have to do is something on the Stripe side of saying we're going to delay the amount of time or before the charge actually happens. Hawar, I don't think I have any resources on how you could go deeper on that. If anything, you may. So no promises, but something that I like to do is, you could try to implement some of this stuff yourself, but before you commit to that, I like to survey what's out there. I mean, and this is like in a work context, if I'm thinking about my employer scenario, and in software businesses, there's this what they call build versus buy, right? Build versus buy. And this is sort of a classic trade-off situation where you think about how much is my time worth, and is it worth me because of my unique requirements to building this myself, or is there something that I could buy? Now, the buy scenario is best when there's some open source project that does exactly what you need and can do it for free. I mean, there's cost of integration, but if you can reach for a tool, that's a great thing. I don't know. Well, I do. I know there are plenty of tools that can. If you're specifically talking about products, there's a lot of tools out there that are in the commerce space that can aid with that. There are some in Django that. Yeah, I don't know that I would vouch for any of these because I haven't used Sailor, although it looks quite popular. And then I used Django Oscar many years ago, and it required a lot of work. But again, maybe you were just giving product stuff as just an example of a timeline thing, in which case none of that knowledge applies. So if you're looking more for generically like keeping track of changes, there might be something on Django packages that you could find that handles some of this stuff. What? This popped in my head just now. I don't know if it's right. No, I think this is more for trees. Okay, never mind. This could be totally wrong. But some far corner of my brain said tree beard, like I should think about that. But it may have nothing to do with what you want to do. So check Django packages first. Check other open source areas. There is an awesome Django list out there. Will Vincent has. Looks like somebody else has got their own awesome Django list. I don't know what's here. There's probably a lot of great packages here. Maybe one of them can help you out. So that's how I would try to start going deeper on that. But I don't have a direct resource that says like, hey, what do I do when I have statuses and what do I do about that? Let's see. Oh, cool. I think, how do you say your handle? Is it iHard? Or is there just stuff on either side? You wrote an article about why Django is a SaaS killer. Cool. Nice. Okay, let's focus here on how are we going to do this graceful trial handling. Well, I am going to steal from my own. I'm stealing from myself, so maybe that's okay. What is it? I forget the quote about artists and stealing. I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not going to try. Good artists borrow, great artists steal. Is that it? I don't know. So the thing we need to find is where we actually send stuff to Stripe is where we need to make our modifications. So we've got a gateway, a payments gateway that we implemented here. And we have a bunch of session parameters that we put in here. Okay. And then the thing that we need to add is in this API call, if I recall correctly. So let's go to, I think I called it Stripe Gateway. Hard123, I'm looking at your comment there. Cool, there's a lot of, yeah, sounds like you got a lot of good thoughts in there. That's great. So there's this aspect of this session parameters here. And there's a complication with this. And it looks like I put myself a reminder or a link. Let's check out this link, see if it's still valid. Because this was a couple of years ago now. Maybe they've moved some stuff. Okay. So when we are trying to create our session that we want to send to Stripe, we're trying to send them a session that's about the completion or the creation of a subscription. Okay. And that along with that subscription, we are passing along our specific price ID and a quantity. But there's a way to pass along metadata about the subscription that we want to modify. And that is captured in the documentation that was in that link that I just have. So it's called subscription data, and we link it in to how we want our subscription to behave. There are all of these fields. This is this sub-object that gets added. The most applicable one, and perhaps the only applicable one, we'll see, is this one that I linked directly to of trial end. So we want to be able to tell Stripe about when we want our trial to end. Let me read through this. Again, it's been a while. So what is that? Sorry, y'all. It's been. I don't want to speak too far out off this if it's not right. I think you can modify. So you can modify an existing trial, like when. Oh! I remember well. Yeah, it's coming back to me. Okay, here's the scenario, and here's why it's different from what you might initially think. Stripe has a mode where you can, from the get-go with your subscriptions, create trials with them and start that. But that comes at the cost of you have to go ahead and create those Stripe customers. And you may not have, and I certainly don't, have all of the details about that customer, including their credit card information. I didn't want to put credit card up front. So the way that I'm doing this with JourneyInbox is that I'm creating a user before creating any kind of connection to Stripe about who they are. So it's not a one-for-one of you sign up for JourneyInbox and you immediately get a Stripe customer. I didn't do that. So that means that because I've delayed that, Stripe has no notion of the trial that I've promised on my account signup. So what we can do with our subscription is we can essentially say, look, the trial for this user, they started on a week ago. They started a week ago. They've got 14 days trial total, and they're signing up and activating their account on the 7th day. That's to help this out. When we create the session to have them start their subscription, we can give Stripe a certain number of extra days and saying, before you charge, give them this long of a trial dynamically. And that works great with one caveat. And it's this right here. It says that the trial has to be at least 48 hours into the future. So to be able to offer them a continuation of their trial, they have to not be right at that end of that trial. And this is like just a limitation of what we have with Stripe. So I've got some code in here that looks at when did you start. There's a dedicated trial end date here. Is that a property? Let's go to the account model. That might be a property that's just based off of, yeah, okay. Trial end is just based off of the date joined along with the time delta. So probably we'll steal this too, I suspect, in order to get that going. So it calculates when the trial would end, gives them a little bit of an extra day, or which we gave them 2, to calculate a trial end. And then we did, but we had to do a check on if they're eligible. So first we calculate, like, it's kind of a look before you leap scenario in this case, because I think what happens is if we try to provide a trial end that is less than 48 hours from the future, then it will create a 400 error on the Stripe side. So we can't. I'd rather just not react to the error on the Stripe side and get it right from the get-go. So that's why with this is trial eligible part has to be there first, and then we can do the kind of computation there. So we're going to borrow very heavily from this, and you can see how this works. Is it like it takes the session parameters dictionary that's here, that's going to be part of that Stripe call, and it creates a new dictionary on this, and we can steal all of this logic because I already figured out how Stripe wants it in the right format. So we'll take this, we'll borrow from this extensively. Now the difference, I think, is we are anchoring more to user rather than account. So actually we might not use this trial end at all, and we'll just lean on the user attribute that is underlying this, which is date joined, which is what I was doing in Schooldesk. Okay, hopefully that made sense to people. So we need, let's first start with is trial eligible, and I want to continue having that data reference here to that URL. We'll plop it in right there. And then we need what? We need time zone. I'm bothered that my LSP doesn't know that that's where to import that from. I'm trying code action, and there's no code action for imports. Oh well. So where do we get time zone from? I don't remember. Utils. So we say from Django utils import time zone. I'm getting a little better. Last time I was really struggling with my auto completion because I switched the keyboard shortcut. I'm still struggling with it, but I'm a little bit faster than I was. And then we also need import date time. Okay. So we've got this, but we are going to want to pass in a user and not an account. Let's change this to be an account. Or sorry, change this to be a user, and let's type annotate it this time. And we want to return a Boolean. So we're going to do, we've got this time zone calculation, calculates now, and it does a computation on the time delta. That's a little surprising, like it doesn't specify the time zone. TZ. Or maybe, oh. I bet I looked this up before, and I bet underneath the covers, it goes to, if there's nothing is provided, it probably defaults to the UTC time zone. Yep. We've got use TZ, so it's going to use UTC by default. All right, so we got our cutoff is going to be the doing now plus a couple days, because again, we have to have at least 48 hours here before we submit that. And so that's the cutoff. And then we want to do, we've got this trial end thing, but that's not what we want. So we could call this trial end by, let's steal this. Whoops. And we'll put this right here. It's not right, but it's a start. So we'll call this trial end is equal to strictly, it's the trial day, like it's the when they join plus a number of days of trialing. That's correct. And then we can delete this and have it be a local variable. Why? The plus operator not supported for types of datetime field. Oh. Okay. So this comment right here from the LSP is wrong. The datetime field is the field that's on the class, but really when you're down to an instance, date joined will be a datetime. So that's incorrect, but LSP can't figure it out. Okay, so now we have the is trial eligible thing computed here. I think we have is the constants? Nope, constants are not in here. Where do we put that constants? Trial days. I think we did create a constant. We put that in the account app. So let's do this from journal.accounts. I think I want to just import the constant itself. Constants, because I don't want all of them. We'll do trial days. Basal, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. And sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of your name. I try. Okay, so now we've got a calculation of, hey, this is when the trial is supposed to end. It's when you join plus this many days later, and you're only eligible to receive a trial extension based off of Stripe's rules if we still are 48 hours away from that cutoff period. So if the trial end time is still beyond 2 days from now, the way you can read this, like this is, no, I could have called this 2 days from now, but it would vary if I changed the number of days, right? So instead I just called it cutoff. So the trial end has to be beyond that point in order for this to be a safe operation. That's what that Boolean check is. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now we have the is trial eligible part, and so we can do here in our session parameters before we pass it on, we can say self is trial eligible and pass the user that we have from this call. And here's where we're going to put some extra stuff. Okay. So this is where we can go back and steal from this point. Man. Okay. So we've got this. We're going to do, we've already said what the trial end was. Here's where this is gonna, I'm starting to copy logic around. I'm trying to decide if I'm bothered by this. So I have it once, twice, and there's a chance I could get this wrong. All right, let's make a little helper method. This is not, the gateway is probably not the right place to have this helper method be, but it's isolated to this spot for now, so it feels okay. And in the future, if we found ourselves needing to figure out the trial end even more, then I'd go back and pull this out and put it in a better spot. But just a little small bit of refactoring here. So this is going to be a datetime. Datetime instance, the datetime.datetime. And we want this to be equal to this. It's the date joined plus the number of trial days. So now we can do here, instead of having a local variable, we can say self trial end of the user. Okay. And then up here, we can do self trial end of the user, And I think in other places we gave 2 days for the expiration stuff. So I want to do the same 2 days here, just to be generous as much as possible. Which is probably actually going to be compounding. So if I'm actually extending the trial, no, that's not right. It should line up with the expiration process. So we're adding this all in this way. Right, that feels pretty good. And I think that's the whole feature. One thing I might want to do is steal the tests if I can, but I don't remember how much of a pain that was to test this. Okay, this is reasonable. That's a reasonable test. Were there any other trial tests here? No. There is this one of checking that the data is in there. So that's a way to assert that that's in the future. Do I want to? Let's bring up our other gateway test here. Yeah, probably. No. And if there are any questions about what I'm doing along the way, feel free to let me know. So I expect that this session should work without any like this test should work. Good. So what's really happening is it's saying this user that we're testing against is like created right now, right? So, and they are essentially also activating right now. They're going for that. So the is trial eligible part is executing and is looking ahead and saying, yeah, the time is now, and this person's trial is like way out in the future. Sure, so sure, make it so that they get subscription data in there. The other bit that we want to test, though, is that this logic works in the false case where they do not have that. So we want to test that as well. And whoops, paste that here. I want to, whoops, no. Oh, come on, Matt. There we go. We need to mock out stripe in the same way for this test. Patch it that way. I gotta repeat some of what's here. So I want to take this stuff. We've got a user. We're gonna pass in the user. Sorry, jumping around too much. And essentially, we're going to assert that the subscription data is not in here. So basically, we are trying to assert that it does not go into this if statement. So we've got did I get trial days up here? Nope. Okay. So we need to get the time zone. Oh man, there's a bunch of things that are wrong about this. Sorry. This is not a Stripe gateway. This is the payments gateway. We're not using an account. We're going to use a user, and we want the date joined to be what's in here minus the user attributes, because it's not one level away. So we've got a user factory that is the date joined is there, and then we need to import the time zone and the date time to actually do this computation and the trial days. So we need from Django utils import time zone. That's one of them. And then date time dot time delta. I think that's on the datetime class itself. So from datetime import datetime. Right? Oh, is that on the module? Okay, I was wrong. Import datetime. I always get confused on this one. Got the same name as the same class. I don't know. Seems like a wart on Python. And then we need the actual trial constant. So from journal, counts, constants, import trial days. Why is this complaining? Oh, I know. User, it thinks it's a user factory instance, not a user. So that's again, the LSB doesn't know what it's talking about. We run this test. Hey, it passed. All right. So I think that's the end of the change. So we've modified our gateway, and now it has this extra chunk on the session process. And I don't feel compelled to go actually test this in Stripe. I think I did that pretty extensively when I did this for School Desk. So I want to leave that alone, and just know that by having the fact that we run this through unit test gives me the confidence in knowing that this is the kind of the data that is putting in there. I think it's correct. I feel good about the is trial eligible logic. That feels all right, and we've run the code over it to know that it is working. And then we've got the new helper method for trial end because we didn't have that convenience method like we did with School Desk. Then we've got our test to test that when it is too close, that it doesn't try to give the trial extension. And that's unfortunate. Like I wish, there's a possibility that you sign up for a trial and you're on like day 12 of your trial, or day 13. 14 days, you're on day 13, and you sign up and you get billed immediately. That's not the best user experience that I would want for people, because I do feel like I'd be ripping them off for a day. But I feel like that is a limitation with Stripe that I can't really see a way to work around that. Yeah, I can't see a way to work around that, short of giving not actually well. But I work around that. So it's possible I could work around that by what? The extension of when this applies, maybe? I don't know. I don't want to think too much harder about this. It'll be good enough for now, and hopefully people don't complain about it. So let's call it okay for the time being. So this is adding graceful subscription handling, right? Is that what I called it? Yeah, graceful trial handling, which fixes number 70. So that should give a better experience, although I realized I didn't actually run the test on the whole thing to make sure I have coverage. Before I push it up, I'm going to run the test. Good, nothing to amend. we're good there. All right. And let me read through this, make sure I put everything that we need to here. User signs up for free. 14-day trial begins. Yes, that's true. Each day, the user receives an email prompt. That's mostly true. Last time we had to amend that so that they'll only start receiving prompts if they verify their email address, because I don't want to hurt the deliverability of my sending reputation for the site. And it was possible before last session to submit a junk email address and have it go nowhere and get bounced, and that was hurting stuff on my ability to send emails. During the trial, they're happy and they sign up to pay. That's true. Or the 14 days extends, and I made this 16 days in reality, and we mark them expired. Vojo, I do upload all these streams. They are available. You can actually go find the entire playlist, and I'm committed on this stream to doing all of the code for this project, every line that I can. There was one exception where I had to do something pressing for Stripe on a timeline, and then I talked about it last stream of what those code changes were. But I try and do every code change here so that you see the full project experience. So you can see commit number 1 on a stream on YouTube for, well, I mean, you're already here, so my account, and I have a playlist that's dedicated. It's called JourneyInbox, and so you can watch them all. So yep, that'll be there for you. Okay, anyway, getting back to this. So oh, interesting. Yep, we didn't do that. All right, we probably should pull out that piece. You're very welcome, Bojo. So they have this process. We have this proceed to check. So we have everything with this line, but this is a good one. So I'm going to create a new issue to that. And then we'll return to, hold on, if trialing. Okay, there's some good stuff in here. So let's go create some new issues since we've closed this thing out. Because what I did was I copied some you can see I copied notes from a different issue, but it was incomplete. There were a few things here. So so this is what this is saying is like basically before the trial ends, or shortly before the trial ends, remind people to activate. So the goal here is like increase the rate of activations, because hopefully people are getting the value out of the service. And if they're not, they'll just be like, no, I don't actually want to. But it doesn't actually hurt to ask. This is why I put ask for the sale. That's something that people will say that in like marketing speak, right? You don't ask. No, shame on you for not trying. All right, so we want like especially when there is when there are multiple pages, we want to be able to have a banner that's all like omnipresent. And so that would be a good thing to have as well. So we'll call this one trial banner. This one's going to be a little bit trickier because we put all of our session handling code on that index page. There's a chunk of JavaScript in there. And if we have the call to action, that's going to essentially that's creating the session and sending them to Stripe. And so that will be a little tricky to pull off, but we could do it. But it would be good. It would be good to have. I'm still creating more issues than I'm closing. I'd rather have a close rate, but hey, there's a lot of ideas to get through. We have the CTA button right on the index page. Yes. We also there needs to be, I guess, a user page. Let's go check if we created a user page for ourselves previously. I don't think we did, but the user page would be like once you're activated. Right now, the only recourse for someone to deactivate is to manually go to Stripe somehow and find their subscription and deactivate that. That sucks. I want to give people an easy off-ramp for their stuff. I also want to be able to give them a really clear place to do other functionality. Like there's some stuff around like time zones, I think, that we talked about, especially that'll come into play. So, I'm on the US East Coast time. I've got this job. This job is set up to go daily for when these emails go out. But let's say you actually liked filling out your journal entry early, or you're just at a different time zone, and you'd rather receive it at a different time of day to give you like a good reminder of like, oh yeah, I like to receive it at 8 p.m. my time locally because it's my good prompt of like before I go to bed and wind down, I could fill it in. None of that feature is available right now. And not only is it not available, it depends upon knowing what time zone you're primarily in. So there's some time zone stuff that we'd want to put in there to make that we would have tracking down here, but you need a settings page in order to make that possible. So we're going to add that, which I think is the only other thing on here. Let's create a new issue for a user settings page, which should minimally have this CTA. The CTA to activate if trialing. Other stuff. We'll come back to this later and be like, what was past Matt talking about? Okay. Let's keep pushing on. What was left? Right. Okay. I'm reevaluating whether I want to do this now. So I think there's probably something minimally we need to do, but there's stuff that we can't do. And the thing that we can't do, well, it's related to this one. It's just hard to keep track of what else. So we have this logo one. We have no logo for JourneyInbox right now. So there's a branding element of subscription pages that will let you put in some colors, some icons, and the name of a service. I think right now, if you were to go to JourneyInbox, start a trial, and click the activate button, then the page you're going to land on it will say like Matt Lehman. Like it doesn't say anything about JourneyInbox. It's really not great. So we need to customize that page, and that's what that issue is about. But we're only going to be able to customize it to the point of maybe picking our colors and saying that it's JourneyInbox. The actual aspect of setting an icon to give some kind of visual indicator that this is who it's for won't be there. And I think I still have, nope, that's the API stuff. Thought I still had the documentation open. So we're going to live dangerously again, and I'm going to sign into Stripe. We got to find the pages that allow us to customize this. We'll tweak it. So what do we want to tweak to? Actually, let's get that going. We've got this green that we'll use. So minimally, I want to incorporate this green as an accent color rather than Stripe's colors. Maybe even that kind of like yellow color there, not the highlight version. I'm not sure how much color customization they give. And then I want to say JourneyInbox rather than Matt Lehman. Those are the priority things. Oh, Bojo, thanks so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. All right, so let's do it. Let's get over there, and I gotta hide some stuff. I gotta probably log in with 2FA and all of that jazz. So bear with me. I'm gonna switch into my secrets mode here, and you all can still hear me, but can't show off Stripe stuff until I'm at a place where I can confidently say that I'm in and there's nothing sensitive to see, especially as we need to modify this on the production instance, and I don't want to give away customer information. That would be really bad, really an invasion of privacy. So here's where this process gets dangerous. So I'm going to talk you through as much as I can until I'm on a safe spot. And then we go ahead and put into, okay, we're in test mode, so I think it's reasonably safe to present this. The challenge is I'm gonna have to like flip back and forth like almost every page that I click because this data is kind of sensitive all over the place. And I don't know where to go. True. So that's the other thing about this. So I am going to guess that the first place that we need to go is up here to JourneyInbox, but let's actually look through the docs first, because rather than poke around here and stumble across pages that are not the right thing, I don't want to do that. I want to see what the Stripe checkout will tell us. So let's go to Stripe checkout customization. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, well, that's for payment links. Not what I want. I don't want payment link customization. Well, this is the, okay, this is the right page. Customize a checkout session. We're here. Wait. No, my bad. So we're in checkout. Customize checkout, I think. Customize the look and feel of checkout. Let's see if there's a... Looking for like screenshots that show us where to, if this is the right thing or not. No, I think what I'm looking for is customize the checkout form. Like customize checkout. This is cool. This is about some of the stuff we did with setting different attributes on the checkout thing, but that's not what we're talking about. We want to, looking through these. I'm just looking through all this. Hold on. Let me shut up for a minute. Sometimes it's hard for me to like focus when I'm talking through these things. And if anybody sees these particular page, let me know. Okay. So here's what I'm talking about. Right here. Yep. I mean, they're even giving an example of it. They've got, we're going to use this. What we have is the Stripe hosted page here. And we want to customize the look of this. Right now it's like all white, I believe. And like I said, just says Matt Lehman. So I'm looking for the right page to show. Customize branding. The appearance. Here we go. So you can apply custom branding to checkout. Go to the branding settings. I'm hesitant to click that button. We'll go there in a second. Upload a logo or icon change the background color, button color, font, shapes, change your brand name, the public business name. Okay. Yeah, this is the section we want to modify. So let me, secrets mode for a moment. I'm going to branding settings, clicking through, making sure that this is okay to show. I am on, not in the test mode, but I do not see any negative stuff here, so I think we're okay. So let's bring this back. So we've got, first thing that's wrong is it says Matthew Lehman. See there? That is my name, but not what we want here. Let's see. Use brand colors. Automatically apply your default brand colors to check this. So I want to use brand colors. But right now we don't have any brand colors. So, okay. Let's come back over to, where do we go? I want to go, I keep on, like they're doing this good live preview, which is cool, but I want to keep poking at it. So again, popping over to private or secrets, I'm clicking the button that says public settings, seeing where it takes me. And, oh yeah, I just would have shared my phone number. I mean, you already know my name, but I've got like my home address here. Again, these are not things that are impossible to discover on the internet, but this is not what I want on here. So I need to update some of these bits. So what I'm doing is I'm changing business name to JourneyInbox. There's something that says a statement descriptor shows up on your customers. So right now, the statement descriptor is, you know what? This is weird. I filled this out, and I think the customer support maybe changed these details, which is strange. All right, well, I'm going to put them back. And if I get pinged by Stripe, so be it. So I'm changing the statement descriptor to JourneyInbox. And they also have a shortened descriptor. I'm going to see if JourneyInbox fits in there too. It does not, but I can do JourneyINB. Sure, why not? And then the rest of these details are looking okay. I need a plugin. I have a privacy page. It wants a privacy page and a terms of service URL, which I have both of those things. So that's at JourneyInbox privacy, which because I'm hoping that if I put these in here that I don't get flagged. What was happening to me, I was getting flagged in the Stripe system. And because there wasn't enough data, there wasn't enough information that Stripe's little bots or whatever could scan on my website to know that I had all of these things and I had all the appearances of a legit business. And so I don't blame them for being a little skeptical of I might seem like a shady guy on the internet. But here we are. Like the reason I was doing that is because I just wanted to launch something very early. So I am now filling in, I'm clicking the continue button on this form that has a bunch of information about me. Still says Matthew Lehman for the business details. I'm going to try and click it one more time. Sorry, y'all. Well, it's got my legal name. That's the uneditable one. And yeah, the rest of these look good. So hopefully this doesn't trigger a whole series of emails that I'll have to process again, because now it says pending verification again. So I dealt with a very nice customer service support person at Stripe. And maybe that person, I think his name was Paul, set some stuff that I had previously set to be for JourneyInbox, and that's probably why it says Matthew Lehman. But maybe with some additional information that I just provided, that won't be necessary anymore. All right, let's try refreshing this checkout styling and see if it actually applied my change. Hey, cool. So now it says JourneyInbox instead of Matthew Lehman. That's good. And we're going to use brand colors. And we'll save those changes, but we haven't actually set our brand colors yet, so it's defaulting to this like gray, this like slate color. And we can get rid of the terms of service page. So where do we go for brand settings? So this is the brand. Let's go up a level to the branding page. I'm gonna go back to secrets in case there's stuff on there. Nope, looks good. So we've got our brand color here, which is that like slate gray, and that's not what we want. So we're gonna go over here and we'll inspect this and we'll get the color picker. Oh, come on. Why is this not showing up what color it is? Boo, hiss. Text white. There it is. Whatever. I can just do the color. Where's the color picker thing? There we go. Hiding. 3F6212. 3F6212. All right. So now we've got our green. Our accent color, though, should not be that blue. That does not go well together, in my opinion. We don't have an icon and we don't have a logo. I don't know what the heck is the difference. Icon, small representation of your logo. Okay, that's like the favicon. The full-size version of your logo. All right, so that'll be a future thing when we get logo. Actually, let's do a little reminder on that logo issue. Which is to say, be sure to update the Stripe branding page with an icon, small version, and logo. Okay. So the accent color, I think I want to try that yellow, unless it makes the pay, like it might make that pay button yellow, which I don't know that I want, but we'll see. Let's go over here and, well, if I do the dropper, is it going to activate the hover? No, it's not good. Okay, so FDBA74. What's at that center? FDBA74. FDBA74. Okay, that looks decent. In fact, well, I say that, I've got Flux on. Let me turn Flux off for a second. See what it really looks like. Now that I'm seeing it with Flux off, this golden color looks a little maybe too pale for my liking. All right, let's try. We're over here on Tailwind. Let's do background color. because they give us little swatches here. And I think this was a yellow, or did we pick something else? There's an orange. Orange 300. Okay, we might not get some good results here for that then. Let's look at the orange options. Did I pass it? Yep. So we did this 300. But if we go to orange, then we start. I don't know that I want that. I mean, we can try, see what it looks like. It might look like garbage though. So here is, yeah, so there's the FD-BA74. This is FB923C. FB923C. I don't know. I'm not so sure that that's great. The other option could be we could go for like green and lighter green. There's a hover. Like if we inspect this. Nope. We inspect. Don't want to accept. And then we turn on the hover rule. So now it's forced on the hover. So that's a lighter shade of green that's been bumped up. Let's try this. 456 C14. So like all green. 456 C14. Oh, you can't even tell the difference. Because of the separation between them, it just looks like the same color. All right. Well, ooey. We've got our option for that. I'm trying to decide. Here's the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Do we want, I think the feeling I want with the site, and the reason that these kind of pair well together is that it's muted, and that's intentional. But what I really am looking for, okay. What I'm really am looking for is kind of a warm, like I want it to feel like you're on a journey through the woods and there's like warm sunshine flowing in, if that makes sense. That's the vibe of the color that I'm going for. And this pale orange kind of added that warmth to the yellow, but I don't think it looks right when it's set against a white background, which is what we had, well, a moment ago. It looked too pale, and then when we went darker, it just looked too orange. So I think what I want is, can we find something maybe in the yellow family where there was an amber, right? Like amber 500 or 400 might be a better fit here. It gives that warm yellow color when it's by itself. Like this yellow, just pure yellow is fine, but it to me on these, especially on these brighter ones, it gives more of like, I don't know, beachy vibes. I don't know how else to describe it. Just too pure yellow. It doesn't have enough mixed in there, where the amber definitely does. So I want to try amber 400. Change the navbar color to black. Oh, on the actual, are you talking about, Cody, are you talking about on this up here? I like the green, but I don't know that I want to go like deep black, especially like I've been thinking about, I think I wrote it down, dark theme. Did I record that one? Yeah, dark theme. So if we did black there, that would complicate dark theme stuff. But you have an like your perspective is interesting. I wonder what what would a black button look like? I just set this to 0. I don't know. I'm not digging it because I don't think, it doesn't feel like a clear enough call to action. So let's try what I was thinking of here. Let's start with FBB24. What am I talking? I'm missing a letter. FBBF24. FBBF24. I like that. That feels like a nice, clear, not orangey, not faded out, and it pairs well with the green. Honestly, so my mom went to Baylor University in Texas, and this feels like Baylor colors. So I grew up seeing these kind of colors with college paraphernalia in the house. It feels good. I think I'm going to say that's good enough for now. So that's how the checkout page will look. This is on the mobile version. Let's see what it looks like. So we'll see a lot more green on the full page, the web, which is what I expect most people would try to sign up on. And then in the future, when we actually do get that icon or logo image, that's what it replaces right here. It puts the actual icon there. So, but that'll be a future change. So this ties the checkout page close enough to the actual home page. So now when you're on here, and when you get sent over to Stripe, it might give you a different domain, but it'll at least have some continuity, and that's really what I was after. All right, I'm going to turn Flux back on for myself. I'm already a white guy, but you can see I'm like pasty white with the radiating glow of my white monitor here. Okay, there's no code change for that, so we're just done with that one. I think we're ready to think about a new set of issues. What should we tackle next? I don't really know. There's a lot of stuff. Maybe that footer might be the easiest thing to focus on, as like an easy set of stuff. Hey John, welcome. We've done a handful of issues so far, but the list of issues is actually, we're staying steady at 29. So I'm closing as many as I'm creating, so it's not getting worse so far. We're gonna do now. Let's do this. Let's do the footer. Get the right links in there. This will also give us the ability to have a logout page, which will be important because there's a couple of key aspects to see in that. Yeah, and I think this is one where we can steal heavily again from homeschool. There's no reason to do a bunch of truly unique stuff here. So let's go to the base template, which is where we want to put this, and it's going to go at the bottom, essentially. So I'm going to go to the homeschool app. I'm going to make an assumption that past version of myself did something similar. Whoa, why is that showing up that way? Oh, because it doesn't understand the load at the top. All right. Anyway, we've got a footer here. So let's tag, and we'll copy this whole footer. Why not? Plop it right in, see what happens. This has got to go inside of the body. We'd prefer to have it before the script stuff. We'll load all the HTML first, and we'll try and, bad formatter. My auto format, I hit equals on that, and Vim did not like that, so stink. Oh, interesting. Why did I make this a link? That's curious. Okay, let's do a little tweaks here. We have an index page. It's going to look like school desk specific stuff to start. I don't know why this block is here. There's a bunch of interesting I've got some print classes. Man, I got all sorts of goodies here that come from School Desk that I didn't even realize. We don't have an about page, so I'm going to put that in a Django comment so it doesn't try and put that in yet, although I did say we would include that eventually. We've got our terms and privacy page. There's no blog for this. I don't think there ever will be. We don't have a help page right now. I see. Yeah, I could copy. I could carve that up in the way you're describing, John. I haven't here. Yeah, we'll just see how this comes out, and then if it gets too complicated, we'll move it somewhere else. I think my reality is that I rarely modify the base, and if I have, especially if I split out these sections, it's like I would prefer to have slightly bigger files than have more files. That's just my style, though. So if other people like to do it differently, that's cool. And then, oh, that's funny. I linked to City of Frederick. Interesting. All right, let's go. Let's see. Let's fire this up. Back on port 5000. We're done over here. Oh, yep, we're done over here. Not in test mode. Aha, okay. So, one thing we could do, or oh, maybe I did do it and it's just in a different spot. Yeah, I think I did do it. So notice here that this is just like hanging out right by the content. That's not cool. What I want to do is be able to force push the footer down. But you can't do that from the footer itself. The content above it is what has to be the thing pushing it down, I'm pretty sure. So I suspect what we'll find on the main or somewhere, yeah, the body class is the minimum height is the screen. Okay, here's what I did. I made the whole thing a flex column, set the minimum height, and then this probably has a flex grow on it. Yep, there it is right there. By adding a grow on the main, it automatically pushes the footer down to the bottom, but you have to set the height. Coding Alchemist, welcome. Technically it's morning. In about an hour it'll be technically morning for me too. So are you in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? Curious. So let's make these modifications. Let's put this stuff on the body. We want to have a class with a minimum height, or what was it? Minimum height of screen. +1 GMT. Oh, okay. Oh, y'all are doing great. I would not be, so definitely not a morning person. So I'm okay doing this stuff like late in the evening. I would be not comprehensible at 5:50 in the morning. So good on you, Hody, for waking up earlier, I guess. John, that's cool. Using the footer templates to vary things for different pages. I haven't really thought about doing that before, but that seems like a pretty cool thing to do. So let's make this a flex and a flex column. See how much that mangles the existing stuff that we have. Hopefully not too badly. Okay, no discernible change, which is good. And then we can do, here's the thing that we care about. So instead of, we didn't call it main, we just called it div, or just use a div tag. But we could change it to main. That's kind of semantically more clear of everything's going in here. And then I think also technically we can use header. not head, but header is a separate tag. Let's verify that. I don't want to accidentally mess something up. And then here we get down to it and we say grow. I think that's the key. So this pushes the grow on a flex will push to fill up the maximum space. So it's like a 1-2 punch here. First thing you have to do is you have to tell the body, hey, use the full height. That's what that min height screen thing is doing. So if we inspect, we can see what the min height screen CSS class does. So it sets the minimum height to this 100 VH unit. I cannot tell you what VH stands for. There are so many units in CSS. I assume that is well, I don't know. Yeah, Code Alchemist, I noticed the same thing. I think what's happening is it's not that tree sitter is disabled. I think it's where this load thing is happening. So I watch this. I bet if we do this and move that down and then come up out of this file and go back in. No, it didn't work. So it could also be the other thing that is true that I definitely did set is that this is considered a Django template. And like if we look at, if we ask the file type, notice that it says HTML Django. And that's doing good stuff on the attributes that are related to the template tag stuff, but then it's doing a bad job on the templates themselves. So if I set the file type to be HTML, it would look like a standard HTML thing, but then it doesn't get the tags right anymore. So I don't know what's going on with tree sitter or why it can't, like maybe tree sitter doesn't have a parser for the HTML Django file type, or it must have some kind because it's able to highlight the tags properly. But it's a bummer that, like, what's more important, getting the tags right or getting the template tags right? There's a maybe like design philosophical question for you. Okay, so we've got this. This is a link right now to this main page. I don't know why I did that. I can't remember if it was feedback. It could have been feedback from my spouse saying, like, I want to be able to click this and have it do something. I don't feel that way. And like, since I'm more of a consumer of this site than she is this time around, I feel like I'm going to change that and make it not a link, just some text. So let's ditch the link aspects of this and just have it be some text. Delete that, and then change to, oops, JourneyInbox. Okay, so now we just have some text, which is good. I do like my town. I don't feel the same need to express this. This was built in Maryland, or built in Frederick. Let's simplify. I want JourneyInbox to be really, really simple in many ways. We've got terms of service and privacy. But frankly, in this app, I think I want to put the privacy first. A very subtle thing from my point of view, but it's like expressing that privacy is more important. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing this too much, but that feels good. And then we've got a logout thing here. The other stuff we could do, what else could we try? Like, I guess I could try, let me put on the you'll see the proper colors again. Right now this is like very plain on a white background, which is fine. Don't think I need this block. I don't even remember what that was for. I'm gonna assume that I don't need it for now. Also, this print hidden stuff. Nobody should be printing this page. The School Desk app had a bunch of things that need to be printed, but we don't have that same set of constraints here. So we've got some text gray things. Text gray 600. But what if we change this to be BG lime 800, which is our other color? It's going to mess up our text pretty badly for a moment, but so what would I have to do to, I would have to, in order to change this, I'd have to take off the container, because the container is like auto constraining, and then say width full to go 100% of the width. And then instead of the text gray stuff, we could change to white. Kind of like it. I like a little bit splash of more color. We gotta fix the highlight colors, but that's okay. And then I think also the height of it, I kind of, do I want to tighten that more? Or does it feel okay? Feels a little chunky to me, especially given the font size. So what if we brought this down? Let's just try 3. Make it a bit more subtle. That feels good. Now we could do hover. Now we're on the other side of this, so let's try hover 100. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Not very noticeable. 200. That's not what I want to do. I want to increase the brightness around behind it, like I did with the header. So hover brightness 110. Hover brightness 110. Problem may be is that it No, the hover is the, John, when I get the hover, it's just an overall brightness increase. Like there. But I'm noticing now so right now I haven't set the color. The color is set up here. I think to make this work, you have to set it on the action, like to make the brightness work. Did I have to set it? Yeah, I think I had to set it on the div inside of it. Like what happens if we set BG lime 800 here on this particular element? Okay, it works, but look at that, what a crappy experience. See that? It's only highlighting like immediately around the word. Phooey. Okay, what if I give it the same PY3 and PX1? That'll work. And then we could get rid of the margin to keep the links kind of tight together. Oh. Well, what do you think now that I've got the brightness increase on it? Is that visible? Like now that I'm doing the full height? that visible enough? So let's do py3, px1, bg lime. If there is a downside to tailwind, it is that sometimes I find myself repeating things a little needlessly. I don't turn everything into a component. Okay. Close. Feels pretty good. So let's just delete all the stuff in here. Yank all the stuff in there. And put it right there. Whoops. Something went wrong. Oh, that's a button. Sad. Does a button have like some natural padding around it? What happened? There's always some complication. Form? Button. Where the heck did that extra padding come from? So the padding 3 there. What? Okay. Can we drop the padding 3 up here now? Maybe we can. Oh, button is a block? Okay. So you're probably right, John. So if we did inline block, oh, or is it just inline? Oh, forget it. I think just deleting the padding around it it'll achieve the same effect. We've got the padding on all 3 of those. Seems about right. So, final experience is like this. We've got privacy, terms. We've got a logout button. The logout button will only appear on, ooh. Ugh. Shot to the heart. Fine. All right, we got to figure it out for real. So that works there, but then when we come back to this, it's going to be extra padded stuff. Okay, let's inspect this thing. And see if we can fiddle with the display. Contents? Yeah, the problem is I don't know what all these are. Inline does not do what I thought it was going to do. What is, okay, Ruby? What is that? There's a bunch of display options. I have no idea what they even are. I want to know what this one is. What is display contents? Let's go learn something new, or new to me. Y'all might know. CSS display. Display. Box generation. inside. Okay. Replaced by their pseudo box and their child boxes. Okay. Is there a display? Does Tailwind give us this one? They do. Is it going to do what we want, or am I just getting something because it happened to work? Excuse me. Let's try setting contents on it. And refreshing here, it seems to be good. Refreshing here also seems to be good. Now, I don't know if that's going to work on every browser. So I'm feeling a little ignorant about what I just did. It seemed to be like saying it's going to depend on its children, and maybe it's because it's saying depend upon the contents. Okay, I think I get it. We are here saying, so John's original point was that button is considered a block element. That's why adding padding 3 to it suddenly like gave it box modeling properties. But if we add contents to it, we're saying like depend on what is inside of this particular tag. But the stuff inside of this is just text characters. So that will do that. John, good question. Excellent question, actually. I should have probably pointed this out. Why don't I make it a link? The reason that I don't make it a link is twofold. If I make it a link in its current state, then what will happen is Django all-auth will send you to a special page to log out, asking you to confirm. And on that page, it will be a form that is actually performing a post request. So the idea behind it is, and it might even be in the all-auth FAQ, Django all-auth. Let's see if we can find a commentary on it. I thought they have no, maybe not here. Okay. I remember being somewhere in the all-auth information, but essentially their perspective is that logging out is a change that modifies state on the server, like it invalidates a session. So because of that, it doesn't adhere to the spirit of what GET operations are supposed to be on the web. GET is supposed to be like, don't modify state, just query and get me some information. So to have GET perform a modification of server state is considered like not proper HTML semantics. I think that's the assertion in this project, which I bought. I understood. I gotta believe. Okay, now I'm curious where the configuration is. Now, somewhere they tell you all the settings, and I can't remember where they are for this project. Installation. Project? Nope. Why would this be hard to find? Why would they make this difficult to know where to configure your stuff? Config. Oh my goodness. Common functionality? Configuration. Why? Why is it? Okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't know, John. I don't know. I don't know why they are making this hard to find. I'm pretty sure it's stated somewhere about the view, and I think I would even go so far as to say there was a setting to like disable that behavior and just make it so that a get request will do that. Where did all these settings go? I know I've looked at this in the past, and we even went over each and every one of them. Now I'm bothered that this is like not obvious. Did they move it? Regular, here it is. All right, regular accounts. And I think it's in here somewhere. There it is. Account logout on get. Determines whether or not the user is automatically logged out on a get request. There it is. Get is not designed to modify the server state. And in this case, it can be dangerous. Whoa, that's quite a statement. I don't know why it can be dangerous. So they're scaring me away from that without an explanation, but whatever. So that's why I'm using a post request here. But good question. Like, it is good to challenge some assumptions of like, what are you doing? But I think I've figured it out in a way that I'm happy with. So again, getting back to like, now that we've added contents, the contents of this is just text, which is going to be an inline thing. So it's going to treat it like an inline. I don't know why we couldn't just say inline, but that didn't seem to work. So, but I don't care. And even the class above it is listed as inline. So I don't understand. Ooh. Oh, but now look. Dang it. We lost the hover. We got the behavior. Lost the hover. Shoot. Okay. What if we put the padding? Let's change this. Let's take this off. We got that problem back. And instead of putting it on the button, what if we try putting all this stuff on the form that surrounds the button? Maybe that'll work instead. Let's delete all that for a moment. Okay. I think that gets us what we want. Man, I thought that was going to be easy. Not as easy as I thought. Feels pretty good though. And I guess if I wanted to be, let's do let's try to add one little finesse point to it. So we got our span class text orange 300. Whoops, what am I doing? Let's go up here and do span class text orange 300. I don't know if it's going to look weird when it's smaller like this, but it's worth a shot. I don't know. It's kind of cool. I'm going to leave it for now. Feels good. So we got some buttons. We got that. We have our copyright. We have a privacy policy and terms. We have this logout page. And then coming back here, we said, did I not make that about page? Oh, surely I did. Okay. I forgot. About page. Make an about page. And link to it in the footer. And then I'm just going to declare this one done. Let me take that piece out. This is a good enough footer for now because we're missing something to link to there. Okay. So we just updated base there. We've pushed the height of the body down. We turned that into a flex, changed the name of the tag, and we set the main so that will grow, and then put a footer there. I think we should do one more quick thing, and that is we should check it on a mobile layout. It's one thing I didn't think to do. And it sucks. All right. So what should that be in this scenario? It's too wide, so let's turn it into a flex. Let's do flex, and then so on the smallest mode, so that's the default, we want it to be a flex column, right? That fixes here. And it's, okay, not the greatest thing, but at least gives you the buttons. We can play around with this to make it look nicer. In fact, while we're here, let's go ahead and give the span the same treatment of PY3 PX1 for consistency. Now they're all the same, so that'll do there. But then when we switch off of this, now we've got this problem of like, whoops, we've got a column thing when we want a row. So we can pretty easily change that by going to the footer and saying, for anything on the small factor and above, switch it to a flex row. Okay. Shoot. We have one more thing to do. Is it flex? I can never remember all of the flex options. So flex. We want essentially the whole set to be centered. The basis? I don't know. Utilities for controlling the initial sign. Flex direction. Justify content. Justify center. Okay. And then we lost. Okay. Something got big again. Aha. It's got the... Still has the P3 on the top there. Can we take that off now, or are we in a... I think I'm running around in circles on all this stuff. Okay. Field's right there. So you're not logged in. You get these two options at the bottom. We probably want... Okay, I think I want to put some margin on top of that footer. So we want to have MT8 to give ourselves some buffer, no matter what. That feels good. We clearly have some work to do on the mobile experience. Let's do, we'll call it optimize for mobile. The mobile view looks like junk. Fix the spacing. So many layers to this stuff, right? Like, it's just got to keep thinking about all these things. And I think this is one that would be pretty easy to fix. Wouldn't take much to like center this on mobile, to give a little bit of padding around or margin around the text so that it fits there well. This is already, the footer looks pretty good. And then on this one, again, the footer looks not amazing, but it'll work. And here's the better refreshed and have the padding in there. And then importantly, when it's for the full size mode, we get this. All the hover stuff seems to work. So I think we're good. All right. So quite a little bit of fiddling to get all that working, but now I think we've covered everything. And I'll leave that comment in there with core about, because we're going to come back to it later, and that would be an easy thing to uncomment and pull back in when we're ready. So let's say add a footer, and that fixes number 101. Okay, so I'm gonna get pretty close to wrapping up here tonight. I'll be back around again next week to do more. So we'll do 2 more things to finish off this evening. We'll deploy this stuff, because right now we've been making all of our changes, and they're good changes, but they are not live yet. And I don't want to get behind on that. And then we can also pick, what are we going to work on next time? So those will be good things to do. Maybe we should go back to some of these older issues. Are they important? Yes, I think they are. So I think some of these are good ideas that we want to do for later, but in terms of priority, I think it'll be good. We need to set up some flash messages. Flash messages are informational messages that we ourselves are probably not going to use a lot of, but when you log in, you need to be able to say, like, you've logged in or you've logged out. Those are the kinds of things that will come, that the all-auth system is trying to provide, that we're not currently consuming, or just kind of going into cookies and not coming back out. So let's do this one next time. And I don't know that let me come back to the authenticated homepage thing. I'm not sure if that's really the priority yet. I also want to work on some stuff that is interesting to me. It is useful to knock out a bunch of these things already, but some of them are less important. This is one. Oh, this would be a good one. I figured out. So there's this. Let's dig in. This is actually a crappy name for this. On the responses I'm getting when I'm actually like in Gmail, you can see here's an example where it'll say the message is clipped. And then I did some research on this, thinking like maybe I was sending too much data or something, and I disabled open tracking. I did a bunch of stuff, and it didn't seem that any of those things was the problem. So I would like to be able to do some investigation and get rid of that message clipping stuff, because I think it offers a poor experience to the user. So if you're in Gmail, like so many people are, you don't. I think it signals a lack of confidence that if it says my message was clipped, does that mean that my journal entry is not showing everything? And to be very clear, like I'm talking about really short journal entries that I've done on my own account that it still says message clipped. So when I did some digging on this, it turns out that it can be one of a couple things. It can either be you really did have a message that was too long, which is not the case for us because we're talking like a kilobyte of data, really not very much at all. Or there's some special encoding character problem that is causing Gmail to complain. So I think it's really that. So we're gonna have to play around with this. I have ways to be able to trigger this in our local setup, send real emails out through SendGrid, get them to go to my phone, and then we'll trim it down and try and narrow in on what the problem is and see if we can figure this one out. Because this is one that I really want, like the other half of the experience, for the primary experience with JourneyInbox is on the email side. And when the email is not great, that's not cool. So we're gonna assign that one. That'll be important. The other piece that is important for me personally, which I am interested in doing, is actually I want to be able to go turn off the other service that I'm using and stop paying them the $5 a month that I'm already paying the hosting for this. So that would be nice to get off of that. So that means that I need an import page in order to do that. Yeah, trial banner. You're right, John. There's only a single page, so I don't know the relevance of having a trial banner in too many places because it shows you the activate page on the only page you care about right now. But we could certainly do that. Do that one. That one should be interesting as well. So if we get that, that gets us down to, I think, is that 4 already? All right, that's 4, which I think we got through 5 or 6 of them tonight. So this is a good starting place. I don't need to like overcommit here. So that's what we'll focus on next time. Now, to finish it off for the evening, let's do a deployment and check that it gets out to the actual live site. I'm going to try make deploy and see if I'm already logged in. Sometimes Heroku keeps this stuff cached. If it blows up with an error, oh good. It didn't, so I don't have to re-authenticate. So we'll do this, and then we'll wind down for the evening. So while that's going on, I'll just say thank you all for joining in and supporting this stream. If you could do me a favor, if you could leave a like, subscribe, or comment, or smash that like button, or whatever they say, that would be really helpful. Hopefully you learned something this evening as we were going through the process of doing all these little things. The way I'm viewing this project for now is we've got to keep knocking off these really rough edges on the app to flesh it out, to make it like it is a working app, but it's not a good app from that exposure, that first experience. My take is it is at its core a good app. It does exactly what it says on the tin of it sends me prompt emails and I reply back and that's it. And like it's doing its job beautifully so far. And so that's good. But I want the rest of the story to be just as compelling. The experience, visiting the page of like, oh, I can get really excited about this. This is a cool app that is going to be fun to use. And it's missing a lot of those elements right now that would be compelling. So we're going to have a lot to do to get there, but I want to be able to knock out these core things first, make sure all the right pieces are in place, and then we can begin to add a lot of cool features beyond that will actually take this from being mostly an email thing to actually having some interesting functionality in the app itself of maybe you do something in your email and you get like cool abilities in the app if you are wanting to use that in that way, or in more interesting ways to really like go through your own data and review things in the way you want. So that's what's kind of on the horizon, and we have tons left to do. So it should be fun. Thank you all for joining in, and again, like if you can connect with me other ways. If you go to my website mattlehman.com. There should be up in the corner, there's a Discord link. There's a Building SaaS with Python and Django Discord where you can join in, ask questions. I am I'm pretty good about answering questions during the week, and I can't promise immediate responses, but I do my best. There's a pretty good little community over there that you can chat with as well. If you want to support me on Patreon, you're welcome to do that. That's patreon.com/mblayman. I also have a book that is freely available to read. So if you're getting into Django and you want to learn more, my book is online. It's called Understand Django. It's got 20 chapters worth of content that takes you from pretty novice understanding to, I mean, you're not going to be a pro by the time you're done, but you'll have a much better mental model of all of the things that Django has and available to you to use. If you like that and you've read it online and you want to actually support me, you're welcome to buy a physical copy. I've got those available on Amazon. And final thought is like, I don't know if trials are currently open right now. There's a trial process where there's a beta flow for this particular project. So if you want to try journaling via email, we keep 20 slots open. They expire every couple of weeks. So maybe the sign-up process is blocking you right now, but check in a couple of days. Try signing up. Give it a shot. You will have to verify your email. That's one of the changes we made. So that there should be verification emails that come back to you, and to make that really easy. But I would love for people to try it out and give me some feedback on it and have some good dialogue here about how we can make the service better. Okay, I think I'm really done for real this time. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care.